What's going on, guys? Niko here, and in this video, I'm going to show you the one chord that you must master. When you master this chord, you're going to be able to make music that sounds like this. Before we jump in, I'm giving away a free piano lesson. Comment down below piano mastery. I select one winner every Friday to get this lesson. Now, how did I write this melody? How did I write this? Well, before we jump into any of it, I want to show you the one chord that is a cluster chord. Now, what is a cluster chord exactly? What we do is we're going to take this chord strategy and cluster a bunch of notes together. There's 4 notes to start off any cluster chord in my book. Other people may say otherwise, but this is my channel, this is how I do it, and this is how I teach my students. So a C major cluster chord, we use the 1-1-2 strategy. So I go to my C, I count one note in between, that's how I do the chord strategies, one note in between up and to the right, so we skip this note and we play this one. Skip this one note and play this one. 1-1-2, and then these 2 notes right here, and I skip this. So if I just play these notes and mess around with these notes, and if there's one other thing that I learned by studying all these Grammy-winning artists, there was one other tactic they used, and that was an octave jump. So that's basically jumping from one note, this is a G right here, jumping up to a higher G or to a lower G. Guys, this is just a cluster chord, right? And I just mastered a couple of techniques like octave jumping, like the grace note, the da. You combine all these together, this cluster chord, right? And all of a sudden, you put a chord progression with this cluster chord in your right hand. And then I throw in the B there because it sounded good. See, that didn't really sound that good. That's why I went to the B, right? Now it's almost like the pentatonic scale because the pentatonic scale has the A. But let's say, for example, we wanted to make a unique chord progression using the cluster chord. Well, what we can do is we can say, okay, I have my notes in the key of C, my chord lineup that I cover in other videos, and I can take this G here and make a cluster chord. So I can use the 1-1-2 strategy again, and it sounds like this. Now, what I like about this is there's some tension within the chord because you have notes that are closer together. Now, if you want to make these chords even more epic, what you can do is you could jump certain notes up an octave. So this A and this B, I'll bring it down here. I'll take the A and the B and jump it up. Sounds awesome. It sounds great. If I took the C cluster chord, took the D and the E and I jumped it up, so peaceful. Now, you have major cluster chords, but you also have minor cluster chords. And again, there's more types of cluster chords. There's some with 5 notes, 7 notes. I cover those more in my masterclass. But for this video, I want to show you guys the A minor cluster chord too. So if we take an A minor cluster chord, what I do is I do the 1-0-3 strategy. So for minor cluster chords, the first version of it at least, I go here, I count one note here. And then what I do is I count 1, 2, 3, or excuse me, I go here. I count this note 0, and then 1, 2, 3. And I can take this B and the C and jump it up. That tension, right? That's the tension that we like though in music. All cluster chords. And if you want to make it even better, you can take this A and jump it up an octave. Guys, the cluster chord is so powerful. And there's different versions. You have the version 2 of it. Some people also call this add to C major, add to C major, add 4, whatever it may be. I like calling it a cluster chord and using my chord strategies. That keeps it much more simpler to me. And that's how I think about it. Now, on the lower part of the piano, just a quick tip, if you try playing the cluster chords, it starts to sound bad because lower frequencies, and I'm not going to get too much into, EQ and mixing and mastering and production, but when you have lower frequencies all jumbled together, it won't sound as good. On the higher part, the higher pitches, you can put more together. So you can cluster these chords, and adding all this texture is just beautiful and adds a lot to it. But again, a lot of the greatest melodies of all time are using the cluster chord, and I cover that a lot more on this channel. So the key takeaways here that you can use your cluster chord to make beautiful chord progressions. You can use it as a means to start writing melodies. And when you combine some other tactics like octave jumping, grace notes, and other things that I teach on this channel and in my programs, you're gonna be writing amazing music that you'll be proud of. So that concludes this video. Learn the cluster chord, master it. The Grammy winners know what it is. They know what it does to their music to give it that emotion, that tension, that release. And it's an awesome chord to use. So that's gonna conclude this video. Again, comment down below piano mastery. Let me know what else you would like to learn. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.